Today on the Brad Link, we're talking all about how to create your floor plan and your layout. Now, if you're just getting started creating a layout, we have an easy cheat sheet for you to help you plan. It's our layout and linens cheat sheet, and it'll talk all about table dimensions, how many guests fit at each table, and what linens coordinate with the table sizes that you need. It's a big help when you're planning your layout, and you can download it for free. But first, I want to give you just a few tips all about planning your wedding layout. First, let's get started with know your venue. This includes knowing where your outlets are, knowing the dimensions of your floor plan, and also knowing any restrictions that the venue has on placing different vendors and what's allowed in the space. After that, you need to make a 2-scale bird's eye view map of your reception layout. So that would be looking straight down at the floor plan and have everything on that map and make sure that everything is to scale so you have an adequate amount of space. The next tip is all about the dance floor. Some people recommend to put the dance floor in the center stage. That way all of your guests have a good line of sight for what's happening throughout the evening. We suggest that you can do this, but it also depends on the venue and what's important to you. So if you're not down with a big dance party, the dance floor might go off to the side. Next is to remember to moderate things. Remember to keep the dance floor an appropriate size so that way it's not so big that everything looks kind of empty, but so small that people are actually touching each other and a little bit uncomfortable on the dance floor. You also need to make sure that you have an adequate amount of space for everything else, like the buffet line, cutting the cake, and making sure that you fit behind the cake table so your picture looks a lot better than standing in front of your cake table and blocking the view. Next, think about where you place your DJ. It's really important for your DJ or your band to be able to interact with your guests that are on the dance floor. So we recommend keeping them close to each other. Dance floor and DJ go hand in hand. Next, think about your table's positioning. Making sure that your guests are comfortable can be really important to making sure that they stay the entire time. Don't put people too close to the dance floor, too close to the buffet line, or too close to the bar. They might not be comfortable in their seating arrangement if you do. Next, think about your guests. Think about who's going to be sitting where and who's going to be walking in, and take special consideration with people that might be in a wheelchair, might have walking issues, or might have young children. That way the ones with young children can get close to an easy exit or have a lot of space for little kids to run around, and then there's plenty of space for somebody with walkers or wheelchairs to be able to get through the entire event so they don't feel trapped. Next, plan out congested areas. Huge bottlenecks might include buffet lines. It also might include the bar. And if you have one of those Pinterest seating charts, you might be creating a bottleneck to have people get into your reception space. Make sure there's plenty of area, plenty of room in these congested areas. Next, think close, but not exactly on top of each other. When in doubt, give yourself more space than you think you need. Make sure that you consider that when guests are sitting at tables, they're going to be pulling their chairs out, so there's going to be less of a walkway once everybody is seated. Make sure that you consider large bodies and wheelchairs so there's plenty of room for everybody to walk around. Next, think about your bar. If you are having a bar, you're going to need one bartender for every 100 guests or so. So if your wedding gets into the 200, 250 or more guest count, you might think about separating your bars into 2 different locations so that way the line isn't so long and it's not as congested. Or you could have one mega bar but have multiple bartenders so that way they can keep serving your guests and keep the party going without a long line sneaking through the entire event all night long. Next, don't forget about your VIPs. A big mistake that I see with people that don't have seating charts is they don't put reserve signs on family tables, and then mom ends up sitting all the way up in the back corner of the reception because she was in family photos when most of the guests entered the reception venue. Instead, what you want to do is think about your VIPs, put them closest to the sweetheart table or the head table, and put reserve signs on those tables so that way mom, dad, grandparents, siblings all get a good seat. Next, you need to consider where your vendors are going to go. Be mindful about the amount of space a vendor needs, and you might even want to check with the vendor to make sure that you're giving them an adequate amount of space. You need to also know things about where outlets are located just in case the vendor needs to plug into an electrical outlet. Having a talk with your vendors can make sure that you give them an adequate amount of space, and they might give you some insight on what they need. Just like, for example, I always try to put the buffet close to a door so that way the caterers can come in and out really easily without having to carry food and walk through the entire event. Talking to your vendors about their needs can really help you make a floor plan that works well for everybody. Now, if you're planning out your floor plan, we do have that layout and linens cheat sheet that can help you figure out the size of tables that you need, how many guests are going to fit at each table, and then also the dimension of linens to fit on the table how you want. So whether you want the linens to go halfway down or all the way to the floor. You can download this easy cheat sheet using the link below or at thebradlink.com. And for more expert wedding planning advice, follow us at The Brad Link.